I think it was when I was at school, I knew I was going to be an artist. About fifth form, I think. Yeah, I just discovered painting, and I used to be abstract painter. I used to stick bits of paper under my mother's car to catch the oil and to let them paint themselves. That's one of the first times I thought I really want to be a painter. I went to art school in Dunedin when I was 17, and yeah, I was intent on being a painter, and I was excited about being a painter and going to art school. But when I got there, it was very formal, and it taught me about colour and exercises, and I went there as quite an abstract painter, and I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it at all, so I ended up moving on to computer art and acting and playwriting at university. And I dropped out of painting after the first or second year, and it took me until I left art school and university, come home, and then I picked it up again, taught myself. The whakapapa's connected here in this land because our ancestors have always lived here since the beginning. They've always been here and they've always connected to here. That's why we're still here, but on Hauturu as well. Yeah, they're in the land and we're here with them. It's a long time that my family have been here. My grandmother said from the beginning of time we've been here, and so it's what we always just say, yeah, we're still here. I think it will always be that way here in Pakiri. When I came back from art school, I was really poor too. I had nothing, so I'd go and find old bits of wood out of dumps and go to like resine paint shops and ask them for all their throw-out paints, mist tints. And then I just saw the clays all in the land here, and they were beautiful colours too. So I just got them and started mixing them with glues, and like PVA glue, and I used to use tar as well a lot, so it was lots of throw-out stuff. That's when I turned to the pigments too, because of the colours, and I just used to make big buckets of them, and just paint on whatever I could find. And probably some of the most lovely paintings that I've done, really, when I look back on it, to see what you can make out of nothing. And I painted on old blinds and sheets. The worst one I ever painted was on a sheet. I built a frame out of wood and just staple gunned a sheet, because that's all I had, but I wanted to keep painting. I always think these people brought it. I always think, I wonder if they've still got it. Mostly the trees, I think, and the colours of the land, not so much the landscape so much. Sometimes it's more the feeling of the environment. Sometimes the wairu of the land itself. You try to paint that in paintings rather than paint of this, just to paint it. It's quite easy, I think, but to make it have a feeling about it is, I think, what I try to do, which sometimes you pull it off, sometimes you don't, but you know when you do because it affects other people. Sometimes it can get too, it's not heavy, but it's the same sort of wairua really of the place. But then I go travelling too, because you can only sort of paint it so much, and then you need, for me, I need other inspiration too. So go travelling. I'm like travelling to Spain and Rarotonga, I painted there in Aussie to break it up sometimes. My favourite poet was Lorca, and that's why I travelled to Spain. Originally, it would have been 10 years ago. I stayed in the village where Dali lived, Catechies. There was a woman every day, she was, I think, in her late 80s, up to about 89, selling fish. And years ago I'd made friends with all the old fishermen as well there, all the locals, and they'd all died when I went back. And she was there, and I got my friend to translate for me, and I just sat down with her and said, what's your life? And she told me her life, that she'd lived there all her life, and she used to walk over a mountain for like 4 or 5 hours with big bags of fish to sell. But she was like the last real old kind of woman there and a local. But she just reminded me of my grandmother and the people here. And so I just did this big painting of her and her life, and then I sent her photographs of it and wrote her a letter, and she was like, oh, no one would ever paint me in my whole life. And well, we're good mates now. She's still there, but she's just a local. It's like tangata whenua of that place. Yeah. Same as our people here, just different culture. I felt real aroha for her. It's not easy, I think, when you're young and you decide to be a painter, because it's not an easy road, but it is if you keep at it. And yeah, I just encourage, and especially young Māori women painters too, you know, I just encourage them to be so proud that they choose to be painters and to really believe in themselves right from the beginning, and don't doubt yourself. So I spent too long doing that, you know. For young people, don't ever doubt yourself, just do it. Yeah.